What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video, and surprise, surprise, there is a demo on the eShop that you guys can all go download right now with Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Maybe that's to signify the 5-year anniversary of the Nintendo Switch. Well, probably not, because they probably didn't line it up that way. But either way, it's a nice little surprise for everybody to wake up to in the morning. And I wanted to talk about a few things because Nintendo actually gave me an exclusive virtual demo tour of Kirby and the Forgotten Land, so I can get you guys ready for the game. Now, before we get into anything though, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell to get my videos first. And I'm gonna go over 5 really cool things about Kirby and the Forgotten Land on the Nintendo Switch. So one of the things that I absolutely loved about the game is apparent right as you play the game. Obviously, the visuals are amazing, but I'm combining that with difficulty modes. Yes, Kirby finally has a difficulty mode. There is one for easy, then there's also one that's the harder mode or normal mode. I'm not really sure, but either way, the difficulty level is good because the people that were playing the game, Nintendo, they did tell me that as you go along in the game, it will get harder and harder. So to have that difficulty mode for players who want that harder challenge or whatever they offer, and for those who want maybe an easier challenge, it is separated. So that is already one concern. That was awesome. They call it Wild Mode and then Spring Breeze Mode. So there's kind of cool names with it as well. Now, of course, this is a brand new setting, new characters, new bosses, and tons of exploration, and that's what I liked about it. It's tied to these things in each of these levels called missions, and essentially you have to do multiple different things in those levels, whether that is making roses or tulips bloom, or that's doing something else in the game, finding different locations that you can break with the all-new Mouthful mode. You can do all these different things and kind of go back. So it does create that replay value in the game as well. Now, the footage that you guys are going to be seeing will not be from the demo because I want you guys to go check out the demo yourself and play it and experience all of that. But I'm just getting you guys ready and telling you what I loved about what I saw in the game. Now, another thing that I really like about this game is that there is co-op from the very beginning. And of course, both of the co-op modes, and of course the co-op mode is playable in both Wild Mode or the Spring Breeze mode, so that's also really good as well. And I like that they have that co-op available right there from the beginning for people to pick up and play and adventure and get into it. So that's really good. Now let's talk about Mouthful mode because we've seen the trailer with it. You have the car, and then there was also another thing that they talked about that I'll let you guys see in the demo. But the Mouthful mode stuff is really cool. It's not just like a little thing here and there. It actually leads to new gameplay elements. There's certain mid-boss or bigger boss battles with it. There's different areas that you can access by having the Mouthful mode. So I think that it's a really good addition to the Kirby, I would just say, repertoire of attacks and moves, and it looks really fun to play through, which you guys will be doing right now at this point if you haven't already done so with Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Now, another thing is that there is plenty of different powers to have with Kirby, and Kirby, obviously, it's known for the powers. It's known for destroying things, known for just bodying enemies left and right, but this game packs it in there with so many different abilities. Fan favorite abilities come back. There's new abilities in there. You combine that with the co-op options, or you combine that with the single player with the Mouthful mode. There are just all sorts of things happening. And the cool thing is that once you go into Mouthful mode, you don't have to worry about losing your ability or anything like that. You will keep it because you can only have one ability at a time. But with Mouthful mode, you can keep whatever ability that you have, your copy ability. So I like that there's so many different types of copy abilities in the game. Now, I do think that this is probably one of the best things about this game. I didn't see too much of it, but the full release will have it, and that is the upgrades in the game. So the upgrades, or evolving your abilities, are unique because there really hasn't been a Kirby game that has done it quite like this. Now, as you collect and save Waddle Dees and collect resources and things, you will be able to upgrade or evolve your abilities, and they will visually change and add new things as you upgrade through them. So you can go through and take one actual copy ability and upgrade that, and it'll evolve it to something different. And then, hey, you want to go over and upgrade like a different copy ability, you can do that as well. So it actually provides something that I think is very cool and unique to the Kirby franchise for the first time with the upgrading. And you combine that with the wild mode. That's a really good combination to have. There are going to be some levels on that wild mode that should test your abilities just a bit, so you might need to evolve your actual abilities in order to get that done. So very good there. Now in this demo, you're going to have 3 different stages that you can play. You have the tutorial stage, or the basic stage. You have another mid stage that has a nice little mid boss in there, and then there's also a boss stage as well that lets you pick between 3 abilities. I got to see the first boss in the game, which you guys have seen in the trailer as well. The first trailer showed him off, that huge gorilla there, and it just looks really good in co-op mode. It plays good, it looks smooth, the graphics look fantastic, and I'm just charmed by how well this Kirby game came out from the virtual demo that I saw on there. Even not playing it on my own hardware, once you guys are going to see it here, I'm going to be playing the demo as well and everything. Like, it just looks great, and this is probably going to be Kirby's biggest adventure to date so far when it comes down to it. Now, there are some other things with this game. It does support amiibo, which Nintendo did let me know about that. So you're going to be able to get certain resources or food or some type of things from the amiibo, but none of it's going to be locked behind the amiibo, so you don't have to worry about anything like that. And then it also doesn't support HD Rumble. It just has regular Rumble. So that's unfortunate that it doesn't, but the Rumble is in there, but just not HD Rumble for this game. Now, also, there will be leaderboards for Nintendo Switch Online. So if you have the Nintendo Switch Online, there will be leaderboards you can compare with your friends. Now, I'm not exactly sure exactly how they're going to be doing that when it comes to what they're going to be comparing, but there will be leaderboards for people who do have a Nintendo Switch Online membership. Also, one more thing here. It might be good for you to play the demo, because you can get some present codes that will allow you to unlock different items and things in the game as well. So if you don't have the amiibo, you will be able to get present codes through various different means, and you will be able to unlock some stuff as well. So very good all around there. I'm loving what I saw from the game. I want you guys to check it out yourself. This was a surprise for today, so surprise. And that's just my first impressions of it from me just watching it. I'll have another video talking about Kirby going through. I'll probably stream it myself when it comes to the demo or the gameplay, so look out for that on the channel. But yeah, so far so good with Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and I'm looking forward to its release later this month. But what are your thoughts on Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and also the demo that's out right now for you to go play? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, now moving on to the next topic here, we're going to discuss how Xenoblade Chronicles 3 success can lead or fast track a Xenoblade Chronicles X port to the Nintendo Switch. So this is something that I literally get asked every single day on the channel. There's always someone asking me either on my channel or on Twitter, on my live streams, about Xenoblade Chronicles X, and I've made so many videos on it, but I did want to once again kind of put out some other things, just my thoughts on what could happen as we head towards the launch of Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Now, it is very possible that Nintendo goes to E3 and they say, hey, for those who pre-order, you could get Xenoblade X for something. There could be some massive announcement, because this would be a fan favorite, a cult type of hit announcement. This would rock the house at E3 or Nintendo's E3 time type of presentation. So even if there isn't an official E3, Nintendo will still have their direct that they usually do around that time. They will do something. So this could rock everyone's world if it was there, because not only do we have all the other Xenoblade games, and of course the big one, Xenoblade 3, but now we complete all of it with Xenoblade Chronicles X as well. So that would be huge. So they might be saving it for that. But if they aren't, if there is no Xenoblade Chronicles X at E3, which I think that there's still a possibility, if there isn't, I definitely feel that after Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and after the massive success of Xenoblade Chronicles 3, that will be the motivation, the funds, the time, the effort, whatever the case is, to get Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Nintendo Switch. So we could see it very much like Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, which did come out after Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and not before Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So we also have to look at that, because it's a very big possibility that it does come out afterwards, and it might be a year or so afterwards. You don't know what Nintendo's doing with like their next system or whatever the case is. It's probably a little bit too early to even talk about that, even though there was that leak, but it could be the following year, or there could be other kind of issues that's stopping it right now at this point, or maybe because the RPG lineup is stacked. They already have Triangle Strategy and Live Alive and just Xenoblade Chronicles and just so many RPGs coming out this year. Fire Emblem 3 Hopes, or Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes, I should say. So I do think that it is possible that it is a next year game or leading into the next Switch when it comes down to it. But I do feel that the success and the massive success of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 could affect things one way or another, because I do feel that even with Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, Nintendo looked and saw the appetite that people had for Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and how well that game did. And I definitely think that factored in, because that game came out 3 years, or almost 3 years, because it was 2017 December when Xenoblade Chronicles 2 came out, but Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition came out in early, or more like almost mid-ish, I think it was May or so, of 2020. It was announced in late 2019, so that game probably wasn't a 3-year development cycle. I'm guessing it was more like a year or so. So they obviously waited for a bit before they greenlit a project that big, because that was a huge Wii game, and that's not just an easy port when it comes down to it. It's really not, considering that they remade a lot of aspects of that game and also added the Future Connected. So I'm guessing that if Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is a hit, which I think it will be, I think it's going to outsell Xenoblade Chronicles 2 almost instantly on the Nintendo Switch, just because of what they're doing with the game and how this game is probably going to review better as well. And it's just going to be a better game with the battle system. They always evolve things. I have the utmost confidence in Monolith's thought that it's going to get done and this game is going to be amazing. I think that could springboard a Xenoblade Chronicles X port on the Nintendo Switch. But those are just my thoughts on it. That's my speculation on it. We have to wait and see what actually happens with Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and of course with Xenoblade Chronicles X. But what do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic here. I think I know the next HD 2D game from Square Enix that's going to be coming out. And I've pieced together a number of different things, stuff that Square Enix has said, I'll be paraphrasing, and also other things as well. So what we do know is that the Nintendo Switch originally, how Square Enix saw the system was like, hey, this is going to be a great place to bring the classic IPs, to reboot the IPs, and do some more of the AA content. And so far, we've seen that in droves. Obviously, we've seen the Tokyo RPG Factory stuff that has been ported over. That necessarily wasn't so successful, but the Team Asano stuff has been absolutely amazing. We've gotten stuff like Bravely Default 2, over 1 million units sold. Like Octopath Traveler, over 2 million units sold. Both of those games have the soul of the old school Super Nintendo games, old school Final Fantasy, and all of that. So it's fantastic to see. Now, we did recently get an interview where Square Enix was like, hey, we're going to bring more HD 2D because that makes us money. Octopath Traveler did great. Plus, we also have Triangle Strategy, which is shooting up the Amazon leaderboard. So I think that game's going to sell pretty good with the big install base of the Nintendo Switch. So that's already 2 HD 2D games since the Switch launched. And then there is another one even announced, and that is Dragon Quest 3, the remake as well. Team Asano is kind of handling a lot of these, and of course heading up with Square Enix as well. Now, Live Alive is another 2D HD game. So that'll be 4 games that we know about that are 2D HD since the Switch has been announced 5 years ago. That's pretty good. And they've intensified their HD 2D within the last year, right? Because before, all we had was Octopath Traveler. The success of that game springboarded, okay, HD 2D is here to stay. People love the art and everything. So we've got 3 new HD 2D games announced since Octopath in 2018. Why is that significant? Well, it shows that they do want to do more with that. But the most recent game is probably what's leading me to believe about what this next game is coming. Now, Live Alive is a game that never came over to the West. It's a very unique game. It is a cult hit over in Japan on the Super Famicom or the Super Nintendo, and that game is coming over this year. It's going to be this summer. That game is coming. I'm very excited for it because it's a very unique and interesting game, and from what I understand, it's a really good game. So I'm guessing that Team Asano, the HD 2D team, they're doing a great job with that game. Now, that's one game that was HD 2D that never came over. What about some more that Square Enix even owns? And yes, I think you guys know where I'm going with this, and that is Terranigma on the Super Nintendo, a 1995 action, really cool role-playing game for the Super Nintendo that was developed by Enix back in the day, or at least published by Enix. And also, Nintendo published this one. I think in Europe, Nintendo published it, but it was developed by Quintet developer. Enix was taking care of the publishing, and then Quintet was the developer. I think that is the next HD 2D game if, and only if, Live Alive does well. Because if Live Alive does well, that means that you can reboot HD 2D with games that never came out or little known RPGs, and those can sell well on the Nintendo Switch. So why not bring over Terranigma, which is an action RPG? It's a very simple concept. When you look at the game, it looks really good. Even still to this day, it looks and plays great, and people love Terranigma. So I think all the stuff that I talked about before, and also the success, if Live Alive does well, which I think it will do very well, because I think collectors will eat this up. Physical, those copies are going to be gone, because remember guys, this is a game that never was released here in the US. I think that it's going to do really well, and then they're going to make Terranigma HD 2D on the Nintendo Switch remake. I think it's going to happen, and I think that they're going to announce it probably sometime later this year or next year or something like that. So that is just my guess on it when it comes to my RPG intuition. But those are my thoughts on everything here today. What do you guys think about everything that I discussed? From the Kirby demo, also Xenoblade Chronicles X, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and the next potential HD 2D game. What other game would you like to see in HD 2D from Square Enix or from some other company? If they can work with Square Enix, what other classics can come over? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and we will see you for the next video. Peace.